Good morning and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be exploring the viability of switching from a petrol chainsaw to a battery powered chainsaw. Okay, so what's going to be included in this video? Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the reasons why I've considered making the switch from petrol to a battery powered chainsaw. Then I think what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the sort of the research process, because I don't know a great deal about battery chainsaws. So the process I use to actually come to a decision and finally come to the make and model of a chainsaw I finally chose. Then we'll move on to the unboxing, what we actually get in the box and what comes with the chainsaw, and then some real life tests with the chainsaw out in the field to see how it actually works compared to the petrol chainsaw. And then we'll finally finish the video with final conclusions, what I thought about the whole chainsaw, you know, whether it's any good, whether my decision was correct, that sort of thing. Okay then, so a quick bit of background. Before I finally took a step back from doing private work for private customers to focus on my own projects, I used to do a lot of chainsaw work. It used to take about 4 months of the year, you know, sort of late autumn, winter and early spring. And what it involved is, with my mini digger, actually digging up old trees that were dead or weren't performing well, and digging new holes for new trees to be planted in the spring. And all those trees that got dug up were then processed into firewood. It was normally part of the deal, you know, I got to keep the firewood. I also had to clear whole groves. A lot of the orange groves and the almond groves were no longer financially viable for commercial farmers, and I had to clear whole groves out, dig all the roots out, everything with my digger, and cut them up into firewood with my chainsaw, and then replant with olive trees, which still remain sort of fairly commercially viable. So obviously in the course of doing all this work, I had to sort of repair and maintain all my own chainsaws. I used to have like a couple of chainsaws on the go at a time. Work one rest as I was cutting down and working my way through these groves. So yeah, I had to do all my own maintenance, and then the actual local farmers realised I was doing my own maintenance. I ended up maintaining and repairing all their chainsaws as well. Needless to say, I hate working on chainsaws. They're horrible fiddly things to work on, and I'm completely sick of repairing them and maintaining them. So that was before, this is now, and nowadays I probably only do about 8 to 10 hours chainsaw work a year. I do very little. And I picked up my last remaining chainsaw the other day, the petrol one, which was a Mechanic Mac 335. I took it down and started it up, and it did start, and I got it running, but then it started to fade. I got it back to the farmhouse. I thought I'll repair it, probably a quick carb clean. Got it apart and found a puddle of sort of petrol underneath the carburettor, which normally is fuel lines. I gave the fuel lines a bit of a poke around to see how they were, and they just crumbled in my hands. Now for me, that's probably one of the worst repair jobs to do on a chainsaw, is you put in the fuel lines and push them through into the fuel tank and everything. It's horrible. And at that point I stood back, I was about to repair it. I thought, I'll tell you what, I'm done. I'm not doing any more repairs or work on these petrol chainsaws. I'm sick of them. Now, I'd previously done a little bit of research into battery-powered chainsaws, so I thought, yeah, we'll look into that and see if that's going to be a viable option. So then that brought us on to the research part of the process. What was I going to replace my petrol chainsaw with? You know, I'm not an expert on battery chainsaws, and I actually use AI. I know you're probably all sick of hearing about AI this, AI that, but I find it a really useful research tool that saves me time and money. So I started off by putting in the search bar a battery equivalent of my Mechanic Mac 335, and it came up with a load of name brands on there. Far too expensive for me to justify spending that money for the 8 to 10 hours chainsaw work I did a year. So then I refined the search a bit more. I basically told AI they're going to be made in China anyway. I don't care if they come out as a brand name through the front door or a rebranded name out the side door. What can you do for me on that? And they came up with more results, again considerably cheaper, about half the price, but still a little bit more than I wanted to pay. So then I said to AI, well, I'm looking for something probably off AliExpress. You know, what do I need to look for in a chainsaw? And it told me, well, you need at least, to get a brushless motor, at least 1,000 watts, and you want to be looking for a power of between 36 volts and 40 volts. So I looked a good search around on that basis, and it turns out I didn't get it off AliExpress in the end. I looked at Amazon and they had the better prices, and I narrowed it down to sort of 2 chainsaws where the price was right. They came within that spec, so I over-spec'd it in actual fact. And what I did then is I took a screenshot of both of them, uploaded it up into AI, asked it what it thought. And as it came back with the results, it turned out they were both pretty good chainsaws. One of them was a well-known, well-established company for about 30 years actually in China. China, which actually made parts for other chainsaws, including motors for Bosch and Makita, and also meant then there would be ready available parts and spares I needed to repair it. And the other one was more aimed at a sort of a good DIY tool. And the only real benefit on the second one was it had a slightly faster chain speed. Well, I wasn't particularly bothered about that. The one I finally decided on, the first one that I uploaded up to, you know, ask AI what you think about this, that turned out to be the better one, a more heavy duty, more industrial, more well-known make, even though probably not particularly well-known here in Europe. They did make a lot of parts for, you know, brand name chainsaws. So that was the one that finally came up on, and that one was called a Dong Cheng chainsaw. Yeah, I know. Very Chinese sounding, but that turned out to be the best option. So I think what we'll do now, let's move on and have a look at the unboxing of this new chainsaw. So this is a Dong Cheng 40 volt battery chainsaw. First out of the box is a very robust and well made charging station. Next up are the two 20 volt 4 amp hour batteries. From there we move on to a genuine Oregon 16-inch chain bar with protective plastic cover. Instructions and warranty card. Then we have the main chainsaw body with a 1600 watt brushless motor, a genuine working chain brake and tool-free tensioning system. And finally a genuine Oregon 16-inch chainsaw chain and a small bottle of chain lubricant. And so to final specifications. The two 20 volt batteries, which obviously make up the 40 volts that power the 1600 watt brushless motor, are also compatible with many power tools throughout the range, including many name brands. Obviously the Oregon bar and chain needs no introduction, giving good performance at the business end of the chainsaw. As with most chainsaws, this chainsaw comes with an automatic oiling system, but this one has a window on the oil tank so you can easily check the level. Final chain speed is 14 meters per second. Unlike many budget chainsaws on the market, this chainsaw has a genuine chain brake incorporated into the guard, rather than one just there for decoration. Okay, so we're down at the farm and in a minute we're going to test this new battery powered chainsaw, but just want to go over a few things before we start. Now obviously we've got the battery chainsaw here with a petrol chainsaw. You know when it's live, it's loud, you can hear it, it's ticking over on the ground there. Obviously with a battery one that's not the case. So any time that the actual batteries are actually in the chainsaw, it's live, and if you pick it up and grab it, although you've got this sort of, hang on, this little button here which you need to push before you pull that, you can still grab it and then that chain's going to be going round. So I think personally for me what I'm going to do whenever I'm not actually physically using this chainsaw, I'm going to take the batteries off out as a safety measure and also push the trigger. You know, I doubt there's any residual power left in the motor to make it turn, but hey, why risk it? So anytime you know you want to be adjusting the chain or whatever, you need to make sure those batteries are out, quick press of the trigger and then stop messing about with your chain. Now the chain leads me on to another thing. Obviously with the traditional petrol ones, I'm used to having a little sort of adjustment screw round here to get the tension whilst I pull upon the bar sort of here. And then what I do then is when I'm happy with it, I tighten the two nuts. Now we haven't got that now, and when you tighten this one up, you hold the sort of the bar up at the end there, you tighten this up, and the last few turns it tends to drag it in a little bit and it becomes over tensioned. So you may have to get your sort of the hang of that. What I found is you slide the bar backwards and forwards until you get the right tension you want. Make it a bit slacker than you want, and then when you tighten it up those last few turns, it pulls that last bit and then you've got the correct tension. That's probably a little bit loose there. I'm not going to mess about with it too much. It's a brand new chain, it's going to get hot, so I'm going to run it a little bit and then readjust the tension. Okay, so we're going to start off with this battery chainsaw. We're not going to be too hard on it to start with. This whole area when I used to work cutting wood, you know, for customers, used to be absolutely filled sort of, you know, 3 meters high with wood. Now there's very little left. It's just, you know, the rubbish that really can't be sold. So yeah, we're not going to hit it with this old olive. We're definitely not going to hit this old almond here because that's like cutting through concrete. We're going to go easy and cut through these beams. Now these beams have lived on various parts on the land over the past 20 years. I haven't used them by now, so I don't think I ever will. And I've got a friend who doesn't want to buy a full load now. It's getting to the end of the season. She just wants a little bit of wood just to burn to the end of the season. So I think this will probably be perfect for her. So we'll drag this all out and we'll put this battery saw through its paces. Okay, so I suspect a quick break, it's going well, but as you can see, it has stretched to move a little bit the chain. So we'll do a bit of adjustment and we'll carry on. Okay, so that made pretty light work of that lot, but to be fair, look at it, a lot of this is pretty rotten and light, you know, but some of it was pretty tough. There's the end of an old telegraph pole which I mounted a camera on. That's treated wood and that's all pretty dense there, and it went through that pretty easily as well. So I'm pretty happy with that initial test on that. It doesn't feel a great deal difference to my McCulloch Mac 335. The power and everything is the same. Now I did have a choice between two chainsaws when I was narrowing it down. This one that has a slightly slower chain speed than my McCulloch, and another one that had a lot faster chain speed. I went for the slower chain speed because I wasn't particularly bothered. Obviously that was on optimum revs with the McCulloch, and also this chainsaw's got a lot better manufacturing history. You know, they've been on the go for 30 years, this company, and I can get spares for it, and it's more made for heavy duty work than the other one, which was more sort of you know, home DIY sort of level. So I think what we're going to do now, I'm going to quickly nip up to our friend's house. She's got some smaller stuff that she wants cutting down. I won't put you through that, and I'll bring you back in and we'll try something a bit tougher. Okay, so I just about completed the small stuff over at our friend's before it sort of conked out the chainsaw. So the batches now are completely flat. We went through sort of wood about sort of this thickness. It was almond, orange and pine, so a good mixture there. We've definitely got 100 cuts that it claims actually in the literature that comes with a saw, and we've easily had the hour out of it as well. So never mind with that, at least we could test the batteries now. I've got these batteries off. I'm going to give them half an hour rest. If you're not aware, you should never recharge lithium batteries after using them while they're still warm. Always give them half an hour to cool down before you start charging. A lesson I've learned the hard way with e-bike batteries. So I'll leave it half an hour, stick these on charge. We'll see if they recharge in the 60 minutes that they claim, and then we'll go back down to the farm and try it on some tougher wood. Okay, so we're back down at the farm. We charged both those batteries. One charged a little bit faster than the other, and it took an hour and 5 minutes. Now, obviously, they're brand new batteries. It'll take a while for the BMSs in them to balance the batteries. A few discharges, a few recharges before it finds our levels. But I think that's still pretty good. So in a minute we're going to try some really hard wood, some almond, which is the hardest stuff when it's dry to cut through. It's going to blunt the chain, you know, almost instantly anyway. It always does, you know, even though it's a good quality chain and actual bar. But the main test to see is the motor strong enough to actually pull the chain through it, you know, and work through it when it's being that hard. So we'll give that a go. I've got my little helper over here. She's just loading the wood, ready to go up to our friend. So yeah, hopefully we should have we will have a good dumper load. Look at that already, and there's still plenty there, so not bad going at all. And we're going to try these two old pieces of almond wood here. Okay, and there you have it. That's pretty dense wood, as you could probably see from there, and that cut through it like butter. So yeah, pretty damn good. Okay then, so final thoughts on the Dong Cheng 40 volt battery chainsaw. Personally, I think it's brilliant. I love it. It does everything that my Stihl and my Mac chainsaws do. I can't really see any negative differences between the two whatsoever, and quite a few positives. One of the main positives is you haven't got to deal with two-stroke fuel. You haven't got to go around, mix that and carry that along. You don't have to carry spanners along with you. So that's another advantage. You ain't got the starting problems that you often have, and the sort of the carbs getting all bunged up and the fuel lines crumbling, you know, if they're left stored all over the winter and that. None of those problems either. I mean, there's been times in the past I've been come to use my chainsaw and I'm trying harder and harder to start it, and it just won't start, and I'm having to go back and strip it and clean the carb, put it back together and go back to work and start again. None of that crap, you know, it's brilliant. Now, the only downside I could really see about it is if you had a lot of work to do. Back in the day when I was younger and I used to do a lot of cutting, I could quite easily spend 4 or 5 hours in a row cutting, and I'd run 2 chainsaws at a time, run one while the other one rested and then vice versa. It probably wouldn't be up to that now. You can buy extra batteries. So if you bought another set of batteries, they're between the power of between 70 and 75 euros. So a next set of batteries will give you an hour, which would be perfect for me because you know, I never want to do more than a couple of hours of actually cutting in a row at my age now. But, you know, it is an added expense. And I think really if you were using it sort of professionally, you know, or semi-professionally, you'd probably want 3 sets of batteries and it starts to get expensive. That means you need another 150 euros on top of the cost of your chainsaw and the batteries that come with it. So that you've got 3 sets of batteries, and so that you could be charging some when you're working. And of course, where you're working needs to be at a point where you can recharge, because you haven't got electric. You know, you look behind me now, you know, I'm often working out in the middle of nowhere there, and there's no electric out there. So as a chainsaw you want to use for a couple of hours a day to do some wood, and let's face it, you can do quite a lot of cutting in a couple of hours, you know, it's perfect. You know, I could quite easily use this for an hour, go and have my dinner, put the batteries on charge, finish my dinner, come back, use it for another hour, and that's more than enough for me to do in a day with a chainsaw, you know, at my age these days. So that's me done this year for the chainsaw. This is going to go into storage. For those of you who want to know, the batteries really need to be stored at between 40 and 60%. That means you want to charge these batteries to about 18.5 volts. I know it's a pain in the backside, you don't have to charge them, take them off, put them on the voltmeter and get it right, but it's worth it to save your batteries for storage. Like I said earlier on the video, I found out the hard way, you know, that you really need to take care of your lithium batteries if you want them to last, because let's face it, they're not bloody cheap. So I think all that remains is to thank you for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button and that hype button, it really helps the channel, and I'll see you next time.